If you've ever set foot in a gym, you've probably heard it, right? Feel the burn, really squeeze the muscle. It's this idea that just thinking about a muscle can somehow make it work harder. But is that real science? Or is it just, gym legend? Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can you literally think your muscles into getting bigger and stronger? We're going to dive deep and find out if your mind is the most powerful tool in your gym bag. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll pin down what this mind-muscle connection actually is. Then, we're going to take a tour of your brain's amazing body map. After that, we'll look at the hard science that shows this is way more than just a feeling. We'll also break down the huge difference between feeling a muscle and creating raw force. And to finish it all off, I'll give you the ultimate guide to put this into practice today. So, what are we really talking about here? Well, the mind-muscle connection is a skill. It's your ability to consciously point the tension in an exercise directly at the muscle you're trying to work. It all happens at this tiny, incredible intersection where a command from your brain travels down a nerve and literally plugs into a muscle fiber. It's the exact point where a thought becomes a physical action. Think about it like this. Anyone can just swing a dumbbell from point A to point B, but it's something else entirely to command your bicep to contract, to shorten, and to be the sole reason that weight moves. That's the difference between just going through the motions and making every single rep count. And for anyone who's serious about their training, that is an absolute game changer. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to go to the source. And believe it or not, every single movement you make doesn't start in your muscles. It starts up here, in your brain. The whole journey kicks off in this one specific strip of your brain. It's called the primary motor cortex. Just think of it as the mission control for your body. Anytime you decide to pick something up, take a step, or lift a weight, the very first signal fires from the neurons right here. Now, this is where it gets really cool. That command center in your brain has a complete, detailed map of your entire body, sometimes called a homunculus. But look at this thing. The hands and the face are absolutely massive, while your back and legs are pretty small. And that's because this map isn't about physical size. It's all about precision. We have way more fine motor control in our fingers and our lips, so they get a ton more brain real estate dedicated to them. And get this, movement isn't just a one-way street from your brain to your muscles. Almost 40% of the nerve fibers that tell a muscle what to do are actually sending information back to the brain from your body's sensation center. So what you feel, that stretch, that burn, that tension, is constantly feeding back information and fine-tuning the movement as it happens. The feeling isn't just a byproduct, it's a critical part of the command itself. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that brain map we just looked at isn't permanent. It's totally adaptable. Every single time you consciously focus on a muscle and feel it contract, you are strengthening the neural pathway for that specific action. You're literally rewiring your brain to have a clearer, stronger connection to that muscle. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but where's the proof? I mean, can we actually see this invisible connection at work? Well, it turns out, thanks to some cool science, the answer is yes, we absolutely can. And the key piece of tech here is called electromyography, or just EMG for short. Put simply, scientists can place little sensors on a muscle to measure the electrical sparks firing inside it when it contracts. The more electricity, the harder that muscle is working. It's the tool that finally lets us turn that feeling of a muscle working into cold, hard, measurable data. And the results from these studies are pretty staggering. In one study, they had lifters do a bench press. In the first set, they just told them to lift the weight. But in the second set, they told them to really focus on squeezing their chest muscles. The result? A massive 22% increase in chest muscle activation. We're talking same person, same weight, same exercise. The only thing that changed was where they put their attention. And it's not a one-off thing. Here's another perfect example. A study looked at triceps pushdowns. And what they found was that when people used an underhand grip, the EMG activity in one specific part of their triceps, the long head, was significantly higher than with a standard grip. It just proves that a small, intentional tweak can help you zero in on a very specific part of a muscle. But, and this is a really important but, there is a limit. This mind-muscle trick works best when the weights are light to moderate. As soon as you start lifting really, really heavy, your brain switches from precision mode into pure survival mode. It stops trying to isolate one little muscle and starts recruiting absolutely everything it can just to move that massive load. At that point, your fine-tuned focus goes right out the window. Okay, so here's where the story takes a little twist. It turns out that trying to maximize that squeezing feeling isn't always the best strategy. It really all comes down to what your specific goal is for that exercise.
To get this, you gotta understand two types of focus. The first is an internal focus. That's everything we've been talking about. Thinking about the feeling inside your body, like squeeze your pecs. The second is an external focus, which is when you think about the outcome in the world around you, like drive the bar to the ceiling. An internal focus is your absolute best friend when your goal is building muscle, what scientists call hypertrophy. When you focus on the squeeze, you are amplifying the signal to that specific muscle, telling it to work harder, which is a powerful trigger for it to grow bigger. Think of this as the focus you use when you're trying to sculpt a muscle. But, and this might surprise you, if your goal is pure strength or explosive power, an external focus is actually way better. Study after study shows that when you focus on the environment, like thinking push the floor away from you during a heavy squat, you can produce much more force. This is the focus you use for performance. And here's the really wild part. An external focus actually makes you more efficient. You produce more power while using less overall muscle energy. Why? Well, it seems to allow your body to organize itself more naturally and automatically, without you getting in the way by micromanaging it. So it's not that one is better than the other, it's all about picking the right tool for the job you want to do. All right, we've gone through the what, the why, and the how, so now let's put it all together. Let's create a simple, practical guide you can take with you to the gym. So how do you actually build this connection? It's pretty straightforward. First, you have to lower the weight. You need to master the feeling of the movement before you pile on the load. Second, slow your reps down. Give your brain a chance to process all that sensory feedback. Third, pause at the point of peak contraction, that squeeze, for a good 1 or 2 seconds. And finally, give yourself a simple verbal cue, like the word squeeze or drive, to keep your brain locked on target. And this, right here, this is your cheat sheet. If you take away just one thing, let it be this. It really boils down to this. If your goal is muscle growth, you want to use moderate weights and an internal focus. Think squeeze the bicep. If your goal is raw strength and power, you want to use heavy weights and an external focus. Think explode the bar up. Just match your focus to your goal and you will get better results. It's really that simple. So let's wrap this all up. That feeling you're chasing in the gym, it is absolutely real, and it's backed by science. Your brain has a literal map of your body that you can actively reshape with practice. Use that internal focus to boost muscle activation when you want growth, and switch to an external focus when you want to maximize performance and strength. The secret is always, always matching your focus to your goal. And that really leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. We've just seen pretty clear evidence that your focused intention can create a measurable physical change in your body. It really makes you wonder, if our thoughts are powerful enough to do that, what else are they capable of changing?